Hello everyone and welcome to Whiskey Wednesday. Today something brand new. It's literally landed in the shop a couple of hours ago, so I just bought one and opened it and so we can all try it. It is the brand new BenRiach 12-year-old sherry cask. Now I've been reading the back of the bottle, I've left it open for a couple of hours to see what it's like. It mentions triple maturation, but only 2 different types of sherry, so I can just assume that maybe it's like a first and a second fill and then a finishing process. Most of its life's been spent in Pedro Ximinez sherry, which is quite unusual. So it's sweeter, it's significantly more expensive to buy those barrels, and it gives you an extremely powerful profile, especially when it comes to the nose. It has then been finished in Oloroso sherry. Now that's normally the other way around, but I love Rachel Barrie and she's done some really cool experimental stuff, so let's roll with that. She's done it, it's bottled. It's 46%, it's natural colour, there's no filtering on it, it's all that good stuff. It's again below £50 a bottle. So let's dive in, we'll smell it, and we'll see what BenRiach's like first crazy affordable new offering is like. It smells like sherry. Just hit with tons of PX, a little bit of Oloroso. The Oloroso is providing like this kind of strong milk chocolate flavour in the background, but the PX up front is like plums, dates, figs, damsons, like licorice and banana, bit of vanilla, kind of like vanilla ice cream, creme brulee. Sweet from what you can get, but you still get the booze in it as well, so it's not like overly sweet, it's just all these lovely little top notes, things you can kind of pluck out the air. And then the Oloroso provides a little bit more depth to it, so you almost get like a little bit of oak smoke, not peat, but it's like charred oak. And a fair bit of oak actually on the nose. Like kind of wet barrels in the dunnage warehouses. So sweet with a nice kind of almost earthy, woody backdrop to it. We'll taste it, 'cause that's where the money is. It's not sweet anymore. Now there are still elements of sweetness, but it's nowhere near as dominant as it is on the nose. The oak is very present, and it's spicy and it's warming, like toasted oak flavours, almost what you get from a bourbon. The impact of the sherry dies off. It's still kind of Macallan-esque and Speyside sherry-esque for sure, but those big sweet notes you get on the nose aren't on the palate. It's oak driven, it's spicy. There's a slight earthiness to it, which I think is really nice, like bitter, like dark bitter chocolate, like really heavy cocoa kind of chocolate. It's a wonderful texture, much like all BenRiach. And the finish is quite unusual. It has this almost like this tapering effect to it. The spice seems to mingle and kind of dies off down the back of your throat, but then it kind of resurges. You get this warmth of oak spice running through the back of your palate. Really back of the tongue kind of flavour profile. There's not much on the front. There's a little tickle of flavour on the side, but most of the flavours at the back, it's got bass end. It's not a very kind of trebly, high-end kind of whiskey. It sits low. I'll try it again. But with all that, there's still elements of lightness to it. You know, it's got bass end, but it's not overly powerful. I swear there's a little bit of smoke in it, like the tiniest bit, but it could be oak smoke, like a physical charring of wood rather than peat. But there's a hidden savouriness to this whiskey that made Macallan so synonymous and, you know, famous. But the nose is loaded with big, sweet, tropical, ripe marinated fruit notes and dessert trolley flavours. And then all this spice and slight earthy savouriness really hits the back of your palate. Nothing kind of happens here. There's like slight sherry sweetness and spiciness of oak to the side of your tongue, but it all happens at the back. I really dig it. I think it's a really nice comparison to GlenDronach 12, which is essentially like its sister bottling from the other distillery. That's a lot sweeter and kind of fudgy and caramelly and toffeed, whereas this is, as I say, a bit basier, a little bit more in the low end section. Great value, like below £50, I think it's £48 a bottle. That's like a really good 8. I think I prefer the Curiositas because it does a bit of everything. I dig this because it's a nice contrast to GlenDronach 12, but in terms of value and flavour profile and how unexpected that finish is in a good way, I think that's a really solid 8 out of 10 for that new BenRiach 12. So thank you all for watching. I'm Phil, this is the Whisky Shop in Manchester. That's the new BenRiach 12, and we will see you all next week. Cheers.